Palantir Technologies is above this very critical trading indicator, and this could be a great short-term bullish trend for the stock. We're going to be talking about Palantir, everything you need to know, not just in terms of the short-term run, but how things could play out in the future. Even talking about support zones that are important to realize and how growth metrics could play out into 2024. Now, if you're new to the channel or a returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Let's quickly start off by talking about Palantir. How are we trading on the charts today? And Palantir hits that $20 level of resistance. We saw this last few weeks back here on the 14th, and especially right here on the 17th, before it broke out into the previous 52-week year-to-date high. Palantir could be testing that out depending on different types of variables, such as the macroeconomic situation regarding the possibility of Fed interest rates. There's a lot of uncertainty with that on the table. Now, with Palantir trading volume today at 62 million, we're still seeing a lot of confidence, a lot of trendiness coming into the stocks, and you're seeing this apparently, especially here with the options at the 20 and the $20.50 calls. You got 15,000 in terms of implied volatility for both of them in terms of call volume, and this is for expirations in just 2 days here at the end of the week. So people taking a lot of confidence that Palantir is going to break out over $20 here in the next few trading sessions, and this is what we need to talk about in terms of the short-term bullish trend that we are seeing. And that is that Palantir has crossed the 20-day moving average. Really what this does mean for investors is that this does suggest a short-term bullish trend, and reaching this key level of support, Palantir has popped over this 20-day simple moving average, and traders utilize this as a fundamental indicator because it can be used to help settle large price fluctuations in terms of volatility, but it can also provide reversal information and predictors. And talking about that, if a stock price generally is moving above the 20-day moving average, this trend is considered positive, and of course vice versa. If it falls below that 20-day moving average, you're seeing a general downturn in the stock, and this can signal a bearish type of outlook. Now, talking about that, Palantir in terms of analyst rating is still rating very high, even though we are seeing this at high premiums. We'll talk about that in just a second. Palantir on the Zacks rank is still considered a #1 strong buy stock. You could be asking, if we're seeing this high valuation behind Palantir, why does the Zacks rank still rank it as a #1 strong stock? And that's looking right here. They really take into effect their upcoming earnings report, and really specifically looking at this metric right here, this earnings per share revision. You can see for the next quarter earnings for February 14th of 2024, we have earnings per share estimates sitting at, rounded up here, at about 8 cents, and revenues at 603 million. Important thing to really realize here is that we've seen 12 bullish earnings per share revisions in the last 90 days, which means we're seeing Wall Street set higher expectations for Palantir continuously, and this happened in the term of the last quarter results, and Palantir was still able to beat that. With that being said, with this earnings per share forecast trend, we're seeing Palantir that analysts have already increased these quarter expectations by 68.2%, and this originally started here from 4.5 cents, going up here to now nearly 8 cents over the last year. And talking about that into their fundamentals right here, Palantir's revenue for 2023 is estimated to be over $2.22 billion. So really taking a look back at the stock and looking at forecasts versus actual earnings, we saw the stock be not profitable, turning into a key fundamental for the business here. And what's bringing a lot of confidence is now 4 quarters of GAAP profitability, which allows for inclusion into the S&P 500, which is great to bring maturity to different types of companies. And talking about that and where Palantir is right now is being basically on the forefront and a leading competitor in the AI industry. And this leads to one of the biggest concerns for Palantir and its trendiness is its fair value. And big question here that's asked is the stock currently overvalued? And talking about that, what you are seeing is that in terms of the analysts right here, is that there is overvaluation by about 31% with high uncertainty. And we have Morningstar, other reports that report that this fair value is around $13 or in the mid 13s right here. And even from a combination of over 16 analysts, they say that the PLTR's fair value is in the $15 band. Now, interesting to say there that the fair value is in the $15 band, because if we do zoom out on Palantir, we have had a lot of trading in this actual 15 area. Palantir right here from May of this year all the way until this recent explosion that we have seen has had incredible support in this $15 band and even consolidation here with some breakouts. And you can see this breakout could eventually come back here into this $15 band if we see a large change within the individual stock itself, or if we are seeing a macroeconomic change in terms of the general stock market. And talking about that leads me to talk about what is the bull case for Palantir and what is the bearish case. Now, the bull case talking about this is that Palantir, of course, is, like I just mentioned before a few moments ago, a key leader in the AI industry. And talking about this, we've seen them actually be a high competitor against a lot of the other AI stocks. And after growing, Palantir has recorded a 17% revenue increase in Q3. And one of the most important things behind a company are the customers at the table willing to spend money. They are up over 34% in terms of year over year reported in the last quarter. We're seeing diversification for Palantir with its clientele, especially with its AIP Bootcamp, one of its new large software platforms that can trial these different clients for absolutely no cost at all. So utilizing this big business tactic, having the credibility of many governmental contracts, and now diversifying into different sectors and industry with the AIP Bootcamp, we're seeing revenue continuing to increase. But we do need to acknowledge the bear case, and that is the stock is priced for perfection right here. And talking about its lofty valuation, the Motley Fool goes into this with this article talking about that its premium share price at its premium trades at basically a 1 year forward price to earnings ratio of 65, and that this is very overextended. If we continue to look further into this actual metrics of this forward earnings of 65 in terms of the ratio, is that one of the big criticisms for Palantir is actually that its revenue growth has decelerated significantly. This is falling from a 49% case in the second quarter to 12% here in Q2 of 2023, and then sales grew 17% in Q3, down from a 22% pace year over year. So we're seeing this valuation that's continuing to increase for Palantir. However, we're seeing a decelerated revenue growth metric. And talking about here, well, while this may not be an issue for most stocks, they are for a stock that's trading at a 1 year forward price to earnings of 65. So talking about, is Palantir a smart buy right now? I think there's a lot to consider, especially talking about your own risk assessment. Of course, you need to do your own research before making an investment decision, but sitting on the sidelines and possibly waiting for a somewhat of a correction may not be the worst idea, in my opinion, because we do have Palantir trading at 52-week year-to-date highs in that basic area here in the 20s. We can see Palantir coming here into the support band between the 14 and the 16s. We've seen consolidation. Palantir does like to sit in this zone. Could this be tested once again? Easily. However, if you're taking a bullish perspective in how this company is continuing to prove itself, next quarter metrics may also just get beat, because what we're seeing and what the CEO has reported is that many customers are sitting at the table, sitting on the schedule, waiting to try out their platform. So Palantir is continuing to grow and diversify, which is why we could see this valuation still hold up for Palantir, because looking at a historical basis, Palantir has actually traded at a very high premium throughout its actual trading history. So if we take a look at Palantir and where it does sit right now, is at an interesting spot. The bulls are continuing to push this valuation to higher highs as Palantir has continued to smash their earnings and has continued to provide a great balance sheet. However, in the flip side, if you're taking a bearish perspective on Palantir, then you could take into effect its valuation and its deceleration accelerated revenue growth that we've seen over the previous few years, and how this is not typical for a company that is trading at about 65 times for its actual forward price to earnings ratio. But depending on that, this could be really important on what your situation with Palantir. Are you looking to the short term, the long term, or are you sitting on the sidelines waiting to get in a cheaper price? Remember, Palantir does love that $15 area level of consolidation. So we'll be keeping an eye on it. Talking about Palantir, exciting to see here that the earnings per share revisions are actually continuing to increase. This is really bullish for the bulls out there. Take care. Peace out. Catch you guys later.